Okay, so I'm back and it is the next morning since pouring these batches, and they were actually quite firm before I went to bed last night. I was able to take just a piece of the mold off so that I could check the other loaf. I didn't bother with the Snow White loaf. I didn't want to mess with it. It was still it was still warm, so I didn't want to mess too much. I actually poured this one last. So these are surprisingly not very sticky. I've been having a bit of problems with stickiness the last, what, 2-3 batches that I did, but I think because I'm unmolding too soon. I'm a little impatient. Plus, I can't remember if I gelled last time, but this time I did. I didn't want to take any chances on having sticky soap. And I know compared to some, this is still a bit sticky, but for me, it's pretty firm, pretty dry. Oh, I took a piece of the soap off. Alright, so there's Snow White. The base is white, but we'll see how white once I cut into it. Let's get this one out. Okay, so I am still using my tank here, but it's only temporary. Michelle suggested a wonderful alternative to this large wire cutter. So I'm making my batches smaller now so that they'll fit in flat rate boxes. This is actually the height that I used to make my soaps was a little bit closer to this, but once I got the tank and it cut in the the 1-inch spaces, I had to make the bars taller. So yeah, by having a slicer that'll cut the single bars, I can adjust. So I'll be using that for now until I change things up again. So I've made a slight, well, more than a slight, a small little change to my recipe. I had a customer who has this bar of honeybee harvest that I did over the summer. She purchased several bars from that batch, and she swears it's like, of all my soaps, the best one she's ever used on her skin. And I assumed it, I mean, for the most part, most of my recipes are quite similar. They gradually change over time, because I might add, just a little bit more shea butter, or, put some avocado oil in it. Or I'm not one of those soap makers that, like, this is my recipe and I'm sticking to it forever. If a new ingredient, catches my fancy, I'll throw it in there. And for the most part, I would say the soaps all feel the same. The numbers, when I run them through the calculator, are pretty close. But when I went back to look at the batch that she was talking about, the numbers were definitely higher on the in the moisture category, and surprisingly in the lather category too. I was surprised in the bubbles. So I reformulated a recipe very similar to that one. It took 2 days, I think, to try to come up using, so that I could still use my current ingredients, but get those kind of numbers, to get the numbers to match up. So I finally have one that is very, 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 very close. So we'll see how these are. It's kind of funny because she's sending me a piece of the soap so that I can test it. So anyway, these bars here should discolor to a chocolate. Right now they're kind of orangey. I added some cocoa powder to it to hopefully help it darken, because the fragrance oils were only supposed to go to maybe like a tan, but I wanted a nice dark brown, so we'll see what happens here, how dark this will actually go. And this is, I'm trying to remember which milks I put in here. This is a mixture of coconut milk and goat milk, half and half. And I have 2 swirls down in here, so we'll see what I'm curious to see what this final color is gonna be. I hope it doesn't stay this orange color. That's not cute. And for the hazelnut latte, this is pretty similar to that. For those that enjoyed the hazelnut latte, that went over really well. This is like the hazelnut latte's mature, bigger sister, because I put a bit more stuff down in there to round it out. So we'll see how this turns out. Right now it smells like milk, so it's really difficult to get a sense of the true smell, but in about a half an hour or so, once the airs hit them, we'll be able to tell better what they're gonna smell like. And over the next few weeks, I'll be testing quite a few oils. I plan on doing several custom blends. In the past, like what I really prided myself on, aside from my swirls, was kind of not really carrying scents in my shop that everyone else was carrying in theirs. And around the time of our move, you know, so much of our money was spent on getting here that I really didn't have much left over for buying new fragrance oils and stuff like that. So I kind of I had to use what was already on the shelf, just so that I would have something in the shop. So it's a lot of more popular type fragrances in there right now, but I'm really working on trying to get some more unique blends and stuff back in there. I have several that I have in mind, some fragrances that I came up with, some blends that I came up with, and I recently went shopping to get the oils to do them. Okay, so this one is Snow White, and pretty much it's a marzipan frosting scent. And I put a little bit of apple in it because it's Snow White. And that's not bad. I did a very light swirl. I kind of did the swirl a little bit different than I normally do, but it's feathery enough that I think it can pull off, it can handle this darker top. So let's see what's in the rest of the loaf. But I switched the apple that I used last time The one I did before was I used part of the fragrance oil, the blend that I had done for Huntsman. I used that for the apple portion of Snow White. But Huntsman went over pretty well, actually. But I wasn't a super duper fan of it. I'm not gonna lie. The apple didn't quite smell the way that I wanted. I used, I'm used to getting my apples from one company. And since I was already getting my oils from this other company, I decided to go ahead and get their version of that particular fragrance oil. And yeah, I soaked with it again. And to be quite honest, I'm just not a fan of it. I like the one that I got from my other supplier a lot better. So I had a bit of an apple from that company still here. Like it starts getting a little bit thicker in this part. So I use that. So you get a little bit more of the apple fragrance. And that's not a whole lot. It's still, the top notes are basically marzipan, but you get that hint of apple. And to me, it's a truer apple. So I like it. It has more of a sweet smell, which I would think that the apple she bit had to smell, you know, really good, because it was poison and, you know, whatever. So to me, it's more of a poison sweet type of scent. When I think of poison, I think of something sweet. I don't know. I don't know. But that's how I think of it. That's how I envision it. So I'm happier with this one. And I did not do embeds this time. The customer that ordered it, actually, she ordered the Snow White, which was fine. And she sent me a message and was like, you know, you really don't have to do all of that fancy stuff in it, which was like music to my ears because, as you know, I hate doing embeds. So I was perfectly fine with that. You know, not putting all the embeds and stuff on it, but at the same time, I can't just do a plain soap either, like just a plain white soap. So I still had to get some of this red and black in here. And maybe, I don't know, maybe when the new movie comes out, I'll do it the other way again. I heard they're doing a sequel. But anyway, maybe, I mean, every now and then, maybe I'll do it with the embeds again, but I don't know. I'm much more, I don't know. I just prefer my swirls. It's easier. It's straightforward. You get it done. Not too many steps involved. When I make a soap, I want to see it the next day. I don't want step one, phase one to be complete, you know. I do those kind of soaps occasionally, but they're just not my favorite. I'm a little more for the instant gratification. This isn't too instant, but at least the next morning I can see. This is not bad. I think she should be okay with this. And there's still enough bars to put in the shop, so that's good. Oh, that's worth cutting. That's gonna be a thick bar. Alright, just need to do this other part. Also, opened up another shop. I'm in another venue. Again, can't y'all tell I'm a Gemini? I think the only reason why I've been soaping as long as I have, because it's so much variety and I can change it around so much, it's not much of a chance of getting too bored. But I have another shop again. I mean, I still have my big cartel. That's not changing. I'm staying there. I like that venue. But since I'm going to be testing a lot of fragrance oils and, you know, whatever, I don't want to sort of overwhelm my shop with too much stuff, all my experiments and stuff like that, as far as colors and fragrances and stuff like that. So I have a shop on a website called Bonanza. Honestly, I'd never heard of it before. I was on a blog, and the blogger had mentioned it amongst other sites. But this one actually has as much traffic coming through it as Big Cartel or like Artfire. So I decided to go ahead and give that one a try because it's no listing fees or anything like that. You only pay once you sell an item. So that's booth. They actually call it booths on there. But my booth on Bonanza is just going to be for soap. It's just soap only. And it'll pretty much just be for all the limited editions and stuff that I create that aren't really what I want on my Big Cartel, but, you know, still worth sharing. So right now I have, you know, the same soaps that are on my Big Cartel, but over time, as I'm testing out more fragrances or playing with things, that'll be where that stuff will go. I will be back with some more soaps over the next few days. So have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.